Beyond Sonamarg, the road starts its dramatic ascent of the Zojila, a major road pass of the Great Himalaya Range, marking a border of Ladakh. Ladakh is an union territory of India, seceded from Jammu and Kashmir as a separate state a few years ago. There is an amazing change in the landscape as you leave green forested alpine scenery and enter a dry treeless landscape. Ladakh, literally the land of high passes, separates the peaks of the western Himalaya from the vast Tibetan plateau. Opened up to tourism in 1974, Ladakh is often called Little Tibet due to its similarities in topography and culture with nearby Tibet. The locals only call it West Tibet or the western part of Tibet. However, unlike Greater Tibet, Ladakh has never been cut off from the outside world, but has been a trade hub since ancient times between the subcontinent, China and Central Asia. Thus, the history of Ladakh was different from that of Greater Tibet, and it also developed differently culturally. From the past, the descent is gentle to Dras, the first settlement in Ladakh. We are having a lunch break here. It is reputedly the coldest, most snowbound spot in India, and the world's second coldest permanently inhabited settlement. We don't intend to spend much time here. Here I already feel the typical symptoms of being on high altitude, although they subsided somewhat after leaving the pass. I decided to spend a few days acclimatizing in Kargil before continuing to Leh, the capital of Ladakh. Kargil is Ladakh's second largest town. It's a little more than one long road, called Main Bazaar, with lots of little lanes jutting off. This also lies on the Les-Renaga highway, so watch out for trucks. Kargil is geographically part of Ladakh, but culturally it is more related to Baltistan, and the people here are mostly Shiite Muslim than Buddhist. Kargil's Shiite population is more conservative than the rest of Ladakh. So much so that the town earned the Little Iran phrase. Until 1947, Kargil was an important trading center, linking Ladakh with Gilgit and lower Indus Valley. From Zanskar, even 20 years ago, yak trains trudged their way from Padam all the way into Kargil Bazaar. Now the Kargil bus stand is just off the main road. The taxi stand is also located nearby. The road to Leh is open year-round, but to Zanskar and Srinagar, the heavy snowfall blocks it regularly. A Kargil taxi can get you to Leh in one day, but a Padam taxi is a way more comfortable than the occasional bus, but far more costly. However, in winter time you have no choice, because there is no bus service to Zanskar in this period. Kargil lies almost on the line of control. This proximity and the aforementioned reasons led to a short war in 1999. Now it's quiet. Any future deterioration in relation between India and Pakistan is liable to open the guns again, particularly between Kargil and Dras. If there are problems occur, foreigners will not be allowed past the many army checkpoints. And getting into Ladakh again becomes uncertain overland. The ancient trading routes have all remained closed since just after India's independence. To this day, Ladakh's borders are disputed between India and Pakistan, as is the Aksai Chin region, east of the Pangong Lake area, between India and China. Opening up for tourism created a huge opportunity for people of Ladakh, but also poses a danger to the last stronghold of the unique ancient Tibetan Buddhist culture that has declined in Tibet itself. Ladakh is changing rapidly, and even remote parts of it are now accessible by road, which were unimaginable even several years ago. With the roads came the side effects of modernism, which can already be seen in towns like Kargil in the form of waste. The survival of this very unique microcosmos is in the hands of both locals and visitors. There are few hotels and guest houses, and they are expensive and cold. There is no piped water in any of them in winter. It would freeze in the pipes. The temperature is freezing cold even with the electric heater running all the time. Today I am inquiring about the possibility of continuing to Leh. It is worth buying the ticket for the bus the day before departure. Often the buses leave early in the morning. It takes half a day to get there. I bought a ticket for tomorrow. The bus leaves for Leh before 6 in the morning. This means that I will spend today still here in Kargil. The part of the market known as Balti Bazaar is representative of the unique mud and wood architectural style associated with Ladakh. A 100-year-old famous bazaar in Kargil town of Ladakh region, also known as Heritage Market, has survived turbulent times and continues to attract customers looking for varied products. Even today the Kargil markets keep hold of the old world charm and imitate the rich Central Asian persuades in its architectural character. The foreign trade of Ladakh was principally that of transit through the town, which acted as a sole market or entrepot. Kargil market is situated in the middle of Kargil city. If you are blessed to travel in Ladakh, you have to stay in Kargil for more than one night. One of the reasons is this amazing place in Kargil. A friendly atmosphere for great talks with your friends or with the people there. Close to end of the main market in Kargil, this small cafe serves good food. Not too many options on the menu list, but what we had was really good. Historically speaking, the bazaar evolved as a significant trading center along the Silk Trade route. Trading caravans have crossed Ladakh for many centuries, only ceasing in the early 1950s. On the east-west route between Tibet and Kashmir, pashminas as well as sheep wool were traded. Gold, saffron and textiles were sent to the high lamas of Tibet. Tea was imported from Lhasa via Ladakh. That was the only source of tea for consumption in the Kashmiri Valley until the early 19th century. The north-south trade route between the Indian Punjab, south of the Himalayas, and the town of Yarkand in Xinjiang. Central Asia passed through Manali to Leh, much as the modern road does. When I go through these markets, I can't help but think about what this place must have been like 50, 100, 200 years ago or even longer. Today, not only the mentioned products are traded here, but the market has been flooded with cereal productions manufactured in other parts of India and in China. The ancient caravan routes were replaced by paved roads. It used to take several weeks to get from Kashmir to Kargil and another weeks to reach Leh through the neck-breaker mountain trails. Today, the journey from Srinagar to Leh takes only one day on highway. In the past, the journey to Yarkand in Xinjiang took several months through the terrible mountain paths and desolate deserts, known as the Via Dolorosa of Asia. Today no one is allowed to cross the infamous line of control. As a result, it is difficult to recall the past, but the charm of the East remains unchanged in these markets. Beyond Kargil, the landscape becomes more and more barren and harsh, and the road sometimes winds through narrower valleys and sometimes cuts through high cliffs. We left Kargil early in the morning and are now taking a break in this small settlement. The settlement consists only of the road that crosses it. The border of historical Ladakh begins only after that, and there is already a mixed population of Muslims and Buddhists here. Minarets and stupas stand side by side in this landscape, but the settlement is only good for having tea and buying some biscuit and chips for the trip. Hours later, we stopped at another Ladakhi settlement, this time for a lunch break. This is already a typical, real Tibetan landscape. The actual Ladakh begins here. I returned to the landscape I had left weeks earlier on the other side of line of control. But it's no longer Baltistan, but the true Tibet. Ladakhis, so Tibetans, live here. Ladakhis are considered the purest representatives of the Tibetan people. Here, the traveler senses precisely that he has fallen into a strange, different world, which is unlike anything he has seen and experienced so far. In a few more hours, and after a couple of military and police checkpoints, we'll reach the capital of Ladakh state, Leh. See you there. Thank you for being here. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider to subscribe. Thanks.